Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. I was watching a Comics Matter Your Boy Zach video where he was talking about how some YouTubers had sacrificed the film Furiosa as collateral damage in their endless and unwinnable culture war. Now, in this video, Zach talked about how the film Furiosa, which was a box office failure, was basically attacked by many of these YouTubers using the talking points that many used in the culture war, calling the film woke and calling it a quote-unquote girl boss movie. However, those who watched the film did not see any of those themes in the film, and many critics basically said that this was a very solid and well done film. Unfortunately, many in comics, YouTube, and those who are promoting the culture war did not go out here and talk about any of the things related to the film based on the merits. No, what many did was basically turn this film into fodder as related to the agendas of the culture war. Now, what happened to Furiosa basically shows me what I had seen ever since I read Eric July's Isom, that many on the far right are just as bad as those on the far left in using these talking points as related to the culture war. And these individuals on the right, just like those on the left, are basically using the talking points of woke and the whole girl boss narratives to talk about how these films basically are pushing a social justice narrative, never really going out here and talking about these films on the merits. And in the case of Furiosa and The Fall Guy, both of these films have been attacked by those in the culture war, not because of the merits of the content, but basically because many of these comic YouTubers want to go out here and continue using the culture war talking points because the culture war talking points are extremely profitable for them. Because if there is a culture war, these individuals can go out here and use that culture war to be able to further advance themselves on social media, because for these individuals, the whole culture war is a business for them, and because it is a business for them, they need to keep people invested in the culture war in order for them to make money. It's very similar to what the character in Baby Boy said as related to guns and butter. If you remember Ving Rhames in Baby Boy, he basically told Jody that wars are funded through guns and butter, and basically they want to have the ability to, the government wants to sell the guns and the butter to both sides in order to continue financing the war so that they can profit at the expense of both sides. And that's what the culture war is about for those on the right and the left. It's all about them being able to fund their war, and they need people to continue investing in this war online. So that's why you see all of these content creators going out here and talking about films that basically, like Furiosa and The Fall Guy, that are really solid, decent Hollywood films, and throwing them under the bus, because if there is no culture war, neither of these sides make any money. So that's why you have all these comic and other YouTubers who are out here talking about entertainment, talking about how these films are quote-unquote woke and have social justice narratives, because what they don't, if Hollywood starts making good quality films, they are not going to be able to get the clicks and views and keep the high subscriber bases that they have right now. Because over the last 5 years, many of these YouTubers basically made most of their money from clicks and views, talking about how many of these films were quote unquote woke and quote unquote social justice. And again, that's how they made their money, by getting people to see their opinions as fact. However, if we start seeing a different kind of film and people start seeing those films on the merits, those YouTubers basically are going to lose their audience almost overnight. Because if you start talking about how movies are good and how movies basically are a lot of fun, guess what? People are going to be watching the movies and they're not going to be watching you. So that's why you have all of these people still trying to go out here and continue using culture war talking points, because the culture war is one that they're not trying to win. It's one they're trying to profit from, because again, war is a business and these people want to make money in this business. They want to make money in this business in the forms of clicks and views through AdSense dollars. They want to be able to keep getting those high numbers of views, because that's how they get a higher status in the YouTube algorithm, and they want to continue getting high AdSense dollars added to their accounts every month. Moreover, when it comes to these individuals, they also want to be able to sell themselves as the ones who propose the solution as related to an alternative to the quote-unquote social justice and woke content. That is the ultimate goal of these individuals, and as long as people are invested in the culture war and going back and forth in the culture war, they can not only sell themselves as being somebody who's talking about the media and how bad it is, they can also sell themselves as the person providing an alternative to people regarding this so-called social justice and woke media with their so-called non-woke content, and get people out here spending their money on their content. It's all one big business scam, and it's one designed to basically make it where these people can profit at the expense of people as related to selling them their product. Because as long as there are so-called quote-unquote woke products being produced by Hollywood, they can sell themselves as the ones offering the solution. And in some cases of those who have a God complex, they can sell themselves as being the saviors who are going to save us all in this culture war. Again, it's all about making money as related to their agenda, and it's no different than what goes on Black YouTube, because on Black YouTube we have a gender war, and in that gender war we have Black male and Black female YouTubers who go out here and use talking points where they talk bad about Black women and talk bad about Black men, and they go back and forth talking bad about each other. And as they go back and forth talking bad about each other, what they do is get all the views, because negativity is what sells. And as negativity sells, what they do is get you to invest in going to their live streams and get invested in buying their books if they have books, and also get you to invest in whatever project that they have going on. It's all about making money for all of these individuals, and it's all about making the cash. That's what it's all about as related to this whole business of talking about the culture war. I mean, it's all one big hustle where they're looking to get paid, and a lot of YouTubers, they this is what they do as related to the culture war. The more they talk bad, the more views they get, the more subs they get, and they can also then get you to go out here and buy their products. So that's why you hear them talking bad about perfectly good movies. And what's really sad is those of us who do talk about the really good products that are being produced, those videos get next to no views whatsoever. I mean, I have done videos doing reviews of movies saying how good some movies are. I've done videos talking about many great mainstream comics like Flash back in the day when Jeremy Adams was putting on a spectacular run, and the run of Nightwing by Tom Taylor, which is becoming a masterpiece. I mean, there are lots of great comics and TV shows and movies out there, but whenever I make those videos, what I find is many of those videos get next to no views, and even more troubling is I'll do videos talking about a lot of the independent comics that are on places for crowdfunding like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I will do video reviews of comics I spend my own money on and go out here and share them with people, and those are some of the least watched videos on my channel. I mean, I can do reviews talking about the best comics I've done them, best comics of 2021, best comics of 2022, best comics of 2023, and even 2024, and those are some of the lowest viewed videos. I mean, those videos got less than maybe 100 views at the week. But if I go out here and talk about some other thing like social justice, or I do a barbecue video, those videos will do 600 or 700 views, and they'll be featured in the algorithm. I mean, it seems like there's a conflict as related to double-mindedness with many of the comic fans, sci-fi, and fantasy fans out here. There seems to be a bit of double-mindedness because a lot of people will sit there and talk about how we need some non-woke content, but when Hollywood goes out here and makes content that is solid from experienced people, what they do is instead of talking about go see this movie, what we have are people who basically just disappear. I mean, this is what I've been seeing, because for me, I don't use the term woke anymore, because when I look at a lot of these people, as a person who's been studying the entertainment industry for over 25 years, what you call woke is what I call inexperienced, because an inexperienced person is someone who really doesn't have much experience. Because I look at many of these what they call social justice warriors or woke types, they seem to be inexperienced as related to entertainment. A lot of these people are green. A lot of them have not lived life. A lot of them really don't know what they're doing as related to writing stories, because they don't have enough life experience and they don't do enough research. And with these people basically being in their early 20s or possibly their mid to late 20s, whenever they go out here and produce a film, it's based on what they know, and what they know isn't much, because all they really know is what they learned in college, and they haven't really experienced life to get some perspective on life to be able to tell the kind of story that shows you a full character transformation arc as related to a character, or learn how to make a character come to life on screen. I mean, I remember myself being in my 20s, and I remember writing a lot of really bad stories back in the day. I mean, if you look at the 2002 ISIS, it's not that great of a story. But if you look at 2012's Amari's Revenge, you see how I have really grown as a writer, because I've had a lot of life experience, and I've learned a lot more about research, and I've learned a lot, and I can put that in my stories to make them richer and more multidimensional. Now, when it comes to these, again, people on YouTube, they are not looking to go out here and tell you about a product, a movie or a TV show or even a comic book based on the merits. No, it's all about them being able to maintain their audience and maintain their audience so that they can continue getting those subs, getting those clicks and views, and they will sacrifice really good movies and go against the original mission of many of those in the culture war who said that they wanted Hollywood to stop producing these social justice, or as I call them, inexperienced films, And they want the culture war to go on because if the culture war is over, they don't make any money. So they need the culture war to continue going on, and they need to have this agenda going on, even though the mission really was very simple. You wanted Hollywood to start making films with people who knew what they were doing and somewhat competent. That was the original plan for the whole thing as related to the culture war. But it seems like these individuals want to continue making money, and since they know that they're not going to be able to get a deal with the entertainment industry, because some of these people, basically like the ones they talked about, they said they were getting the Netflix deals. They themselves wanted those deals for themselves, but now in the aftermath of the WGA strike and the SAG strike, there are less jobs than there were before. So a lot of these individuals know that their opportunities are basically done with Hollywood being slimmed and done with getting opportunities out there as related to getting their so-called non-woke script in the hands of an executive. So what they're doing now is looking to keep the narrative going, and they can't keep the narrative going unless they can go out here and make statements that really get people talking about these films bad, because again, like the black folks with the gender war, they need an enemy out here to be able to fire shots at, and if they can get people firing shots at that and supporting them, they can again be able to get more guns and butter to continue fueling their war. And that's why you see all of this going on, and that's why you see Hollywood's attempt to turn things around, not really seeing many of these YouTubers coming out and saying these films are good. I mean, that's one of the things that's going on here. And also what's going on, again, is that you really have a lot of people who've had their trust violated by Hollywood. So they don't know who to believe. But on one side, you've got, again, on the far left, again, disingenuous people, and on the far right, you've got disingenuous people, and again, disingenuous because they're not genuine about wanting change, because once Hollywood did make an effort to change, giving you a somewhat quality film in The Fall Guy and Furiosa, what happened was these individuals didn't look to promote those films as a step in the right direction. No, they basically threw them under the bus because they needed to keep the AdSense dollars rolling in, and they needed to keep the Cash Apps and the PayPal donations running in, and they needed people to go out here and pick up their latest comic or latest project on crowdfunding. So for them, going out here and having the culture war has become a business they don't want to lose profits on, a business they don't want to lose their whole cash cow, because their cash cow comes from going out here and showing how woke the mainstream is and showing how their alternative would be a viable change for the better. But ironically, what has happened, instead of them promoting something that is a change for the better, they have basically compromised their position. And as they've compromised their position, these people who are a part of these movements have become just as bad as what they call themselves speaking against. Now, if you want to pick up my books on the SJS Direct imprint, like those in the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to help me be able to make the next full SJS Direct comic, which I want to do featuring Isis the Goddess next door, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that comic on Lulu.com right now for the same price it was on the 2022 Kickstarter. And if you want to pick up my first digital comic, Esteem No Good Deed, you can find that comic on Kindle for 99 cents right now. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online booksellers everywhere today. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Isis, All That Glitters. The goddess next door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, All That Glitters in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.